Dear students, in continuation of mechanics, today we are going to discuss two-dimensional motion. In the last video, we discussed one-dimensional motion. Two-dimensional motion is nothing but motion in a plane. A plane requires two axes for its, it requires two axes to describe the motion in a plane. Suppose this is a football ground. Somebody is moving from point A to point B. So this is x-axis and this is y-axis. To describe two-dimensional or three-dimensional motions, we require vectors. Whereas in the case of one-dimensional motion, no need to consider vectors. That is the reason why we studied vectors as a separate video. The position of A can be described by a position vector r1 and position B by r2, vector r2. The displacement is this one, that is given by r2 minus r1. So r2 minus r1 gives the displacement. So vectors come into picture only from two-dimensional motion onwards. So vectorially, so r2 minus r1, so you can draw, this is vector r2 and minus of r1, reverse the direction of this one. So this is just like so this is r2 and this is r1. Let us say this is r1, this is minus of r1. So this will be r2 minus r1. So this is r2 minus r1. This gives the displacement. How to find the velocity? Instantaneous velocity is nothing but dr by dt. That is nothing but rate of change of displacement. In the same way, acceleration can be obtained by taking the differentiation of velocity with respect to time. The best example for two-dimensional motion or motion in a plane is projectile motion. So today we are mainly going to discuss projectile motion. Another example is circular motion. So circular motion is also best example, stands good for two-dimensional motion. Now let us straight away go to projectile motion. What do you mean by projectile motion? In the previous lecture we studied about vertically projected object and freely falling object. Those two are the examples for one-dimensional motion. Suppose an object is falling freely, so it is going along a straight line, so it is a one-dimensional motion. In the same way, if you are able to project something exactly perpendicular to the ground, then this is also the example for one-dimensional motion. But in general, we cannot throw anything exactly perpendicular to the ground. So projectile is nothing but an object thrown upwards, making an angle theta with the horizontal. Here theta is not equal to 90 degrees or theta is not equal to 0 degrees also. So when I throw something upwards making certain angle theta with the horizontal, because of the gravitational attraction, it falls back on the ground. So this is called projectile. This motion is called projectile motion. In order to describe projectile motion, I should consider two axes. One is x-axis and the other one is y-axis. If the initial speed of the projectile is u, I can resolve u into two components. One is along the x-axis, the other one is along the y-axis. So the component along the x-axis is this one, this is ux, and along this one is uy. We know that ux is equal to u cos theta and uy is equal to u sin theta. So projectile motion or any two-dimensional motion is the superposition of two separate one-dimensional motions. That is, the motion along the x-axis and the motion along the y-axis are independent. If you combine them, you will get a two-dimensional motion. In this case, you will get the projectile motion. There is no acceleration acting along the x-axis, only acceleration acting along the y-axis is nothing but the acceleration due to gravity. So projectile motion is the best example for two-dimensional motion in which acceleration is acting only along one dimension. Though it has two speeds along both the axes, but acceleration is only acting along the y-axis. This is one type of projectile motion. This is called oblique projectile. It is also called as projectile from ground to ground. That is, the initial point and the final point of this projectile is on the same horizontal level. This is one type of projectile motion. Another type of projectile is something projected from certain height. So this is certain height, let us say it is a tower. From this, I can throw something upwards, making an angle theta with the horizontal. Then it follows this type of path and falls back on the ground. This is second type. The third type is you can throw something horizontally from certain height edge. So instead of going parallel to the ground for infinite distance, because of the gravitational attraction, it has to fall back on the ground. This is third type of projectile. In this way we can continue. The fourth type of projectile is, suppose there is an inclined plane, this is an inclined plane. So on which, this is the starting point, I throw something making an angle theta with this line, this inclined plane, so it will fall like this. This is projectile on an inclined plane towards the upward direction. You can also have another inclined plane. You can throw the object from here, then it will fall here. So these are the different types of projectiles. But for our intermediate level, for +1 level, this oblique projectile motion, that is projectile from ground to ground, is enough. So we will continue oblique projectile. So here you have to consider two independent motions. One is along the x-axis and the other one is along the y-axis. Here one thing is clear, that the horizontal speed is constant because there is no acceleration or force acting along the x-axis. Whereas the vertical component of velocity, that is uy, gradually decreases and it becomes 0 at this point, and it once again increases as it falls. So here the vertical component of velocity is having maximum value, but the horizontal component u cos theta remains same at all the points. Whatever the point you consider, at all the points this ux remains constant. But uy value, it gradually decreases and becomes 0. At the maximum height, uy is 0. Since uy is 0 at the maximum height, the projectile cannot go beyond this point. It can't go above that point. Is this clear? Right. We will prove that the path is nothing but the trajectory of the projectile is a parabola. Mathematically we have to prove. We are also going to find the expressions for maximum height. What is the maximum height? Maximum height is the maximum displacement along the y-axis. This is h. We are going to derive the expression u square sin square theta by 2g. This is very, very important. And next one, we are going to determine the time of flight. What do you mean by time of flight? The time taken by this stone or something, an object or a particle, to reach this point. So that we are going to derive it as t is equal to 2u sin theta by g. This is the expression for the time of flight. The third one is range. What do you mean by range? Range is nothing but the maximum displacement along the x-axis. That is the horizontal displacement. The maximum horizontal displacement is called range of the projectile, and whose expression is r is equal to u square sine 2 theta by g. And we are also going to write the expression for velocity at any point of time, at any point of time when the initial velocity is given. So these are the derivations that we are going to do now. Now we'll consider motion along x-axis. Along the x-axis there is no force or no acceleration. So at some point of time, let us say the displacement along the x-axis is x. So I use the formula s is equal to ut plus half at square. So motion along the x-axis, so at a point of time t, s becomes x. X is the displacement along the x-axis at some time t. So this is equal to ux into t. Since a is 0 along x-axis, this term becomes 0. So I can write x is equal to u cos theta into t. From this, I can write t is equal to x by u cos theta. So this is equation number 1. Next. Now let us consider the motion along the y-axis. I use the same formula x is equal to ut plus half at square. Let us say the displacement along y-axis is y after time t. That is y is equal to, I write u by t. Since it is projected upwards, I have to write minus half gt square. Here a is equal to minus g. So this is equal to y is equal to u sine theta into t minus half gt square. This is equation number 2. So these are the two independent equations of motion. Now we have to combine them. So for this purpose, substitute 1 in 2. So I will get y is equal to u sine theta. Instead of t, I write x by u cos theta minus half g, t square is x square by u square cos square theta. So u gets cancelled. Sin theta by cos theta is tan theta. So I can write the equation as y is equal to tan theta into x minus, so I can write as g by 2 u square cos square theta, we put it in a bracket, into x square. Since theta is constant and u is also constant, since theta is constant, this is a constant, I will indicate it as a constant a, so I can write it as y is equal to ax, where a is equal to tan theta. Here the term within the bracket, g is a constant term, u is constant, theta is constant, so the whole term in the bracket is a constant. I will indicate it by b, so I will write the equation as y is equal to ax minus bx square. Y is equal to ax minus bx square mathematically indicates the equation of the parabola. Hence, the path followed by, therefore the path followed by a projectile is a parabola. For doing problems in JEE mains or MSET exams, you have to remember this also. This is very, very important. You will give the equation of motion of a projectile by giving some equation in terms of y is equal to some number into x minus some number into x square. He may ask us to find u or h or t. Then you have to compare. Then you have to find out the value of t or theta and u and something. So this is also very, very important. But the simplified is to indicate that this is the mathematically This is the equation of a parabola. So this is about the trajectory or path followed by a projectile is a parabola. Now we are going to find out the maximum height reached by a projectile. So for this purpose, we have to consider the motion along the y-axis, since height is the displacement along the y-axis. So for this purpose, I use another equation of motion, that is v square minus u square is equal to 2as. Here this is along y-axis, so I have to write it as vy square minus uy square is equal to 2. Instead of a, I have to write minus g, s is h, where h is the height. That is the maximum height. At the maximum height, it is clear that the velocity along y-axis is 0, but along x-axis is not 0. So I will put 0 here. This is u square sine square theta. This is equal to minus 2gh. So negative signs gets cancelled. So you will get h is equal to u square sine square theta by 2g. If you have any doubt while deriving, you can confirm your answer by substituting theta is equal to 90 degrees. If you substitute theta is equal to 90 degrees, this projectile will become vertically projected object. In the previous lecture, we derived for a vertically projected object maximum height reached is u square by 2g. So when I substitute theta is equal to 90 degrees, then projectile will become vertically projected object. So sin 90 is 1. Once again I will end up with this. So my equation is correct. So this is the first equation regarding its maximum height. And the next one is time of flight. The time taken by the object to reach the ground, that is from A to B. The time taken by the projectile to reach B from point A. This we call it as time of flight. We can do it in two ways. Even in this case also, I consider the motion along the y-axis. At point B, the displacement along y-axis is 0. So I use the formula s is equal to uyt minus half gt square. So why I am taking capital T? When t is equal to capital T, the projectile is back on the ground. When t is equal to 0, the projectile is not yet projected. Right. So along y-axis at point B, this s value is 0. This is u sin theta capital T minus half gt square. So you can write it as u sin theta times capital T is equal to half gt square. 1t gets cancelled. You will get it as t is equal to 2u sin theta by g. This is the second important equation. This can be written as u sin theta by g plus u sin theta by g. Similar to the one which we did in the case of vertically projected object, time of ascent is equal to u by g and the time of descent is equal to u by g. So put theta is equal to 90 degrees, you will get the same equation. Here the first term indicates the time taken by the projectile to reach this maximum height. The second one is time of descent. Here we should consider, we are assuming that there is no air resistance, there is no effect of what we call Coriolis force, and we assume that the value of g is constant at all the points. So this is an ideal case. Then only we can say that t is twice the time of ascent or time of descent. So even here also, if I substitute theta is equal to 90 degrees, I will get this equation t is equal to 2u by g that we did already. Is this clear? Right. Next, we have to derive the expression for range. So range is the maximum displacement along the x-axis. So along the x-axis there is no acceleration or force. So I am considering along the x-axis. I use the same formula s is equal to ut plus half at square, that half at square term becomes 0. Or you can simply say range is equal to u times t. Here u is ux, here time is time of flight. So if you write ux value, ux is u cos theta, t is equal to 2u sin theta by g. So this can be written as u square 2 sin theta cos theta divided by g. So this 2 sin theta cos theta in mathematics, in trigonometry, it is called as sin 2 theta. So this r is equal to u square sin 2 theta by g. So this is the expression for range. Here, even here also, we can rectify our answer by substituting theta is equal to 90 degrees. When you substitute theta is equal to 90 degrees, this is sin 2 theta, the sin 180 is 0. So when you throw something vertically upwards, there will not be any displacement along the x-axis. Right. This is about range. We have to consider range further to discuss that for the same range, there are two possible angles of projection. I repeat, for same range, there are two angles of projection that we will prove now. Now I take the equation as it is, r is equal to u square sin 2 theta by g. So I can write this as u square sin 180 minus 2 theta by g, because sin 180 minus theta once again give the same value, that is sin theta. So this can be written as u square sin 2 times of 90 minus theta divided by g. So instead of writing 90 minus theta, I indicate 90 minus theta as theta prime. So this is u square sin 2 theta prime by g. So for same r values, there are two angles are possible. One is theta, the other one is 90 minus theta. Suppose you are throwing something with an angle of projection 30 degrees. Let us say it goes for a distance of 10 meter. For the same 10 meter, there is another possible angle of projection, that is 90 minus 30 is 60. So if I throw with the same speed, with the same initial velocity, with an angle 60 degrees, so this will fall back at the same point. So this is for angle 60 degrees. This is one derivation from the same thing. Another aspect of range is maximum when theta is equal to 45 degrees. Because sine can have maximum value 1. So that when you put theta is equal to 45, you will get sine 90. Sine 90 is 1. So in this case, the range will be maximum for given u value. The maximum range is given by u square, this is sine 90, u square by g. So that is the reason why a frog, while it is jumping, it jumps making an angle of 45 degrees. It knows so that it can jump for a longer distance. In the same way, if you are a good cricketer, if you want to hit 6 without putting lot of efforts, you have to hit the ball such that its value is around 45 degrees, so it can easily reaches the boundary line. So this is about the range. So we discussed about the oblique projectile. Now we are going to discuss object projected horizontally from certain height. An object is projected horizontally from certain height h. Suppose you are standing on a tower and you are kicking a football horizontally. Instead of going parallel to an infinite distance, it has to fall back due to gravitational attraction. So along the x-axis only, here we are giving some speed u. So along y-axis, there is no speed, right? Now I consider motion along the y-axis. So this is the y-axis and this is the x-axis. So I use the formula s is equal to ut plus half at square. So along the x-axis, along the y-axis, s is y, and along the y-axis, this u is 0, so this becomes 0 plus this is half gt square. So our first equation is y is equal to half gt square. If you want to substitute instead of y, you can substitute h also. That is the height of the tower. This is the equation number 1. Now along the x-axis, velocity is displacement by time. At certain time t, let us say the displacement along the x-axis is x. So u is equal to x by t, or t is equal to x by u. T is equal to x by. This is the equation number 2. If you substitute this in this, so this is y is equal to g x square by u square. So I can write it as y is equal to g by 2u square times x square. So g is a constant, u is constant, 2 is also a constant. So I can write y is equal to some constant a into x square. Once again, this indicates the equation of a parabola. So the path followed by this is also a parabola. So instead of y, I can put h. So I can write h is equal to half gt square. So from this, I can write the expression for time. So time taken by the object to reach the ground. So this is equal to under root 2h by g. Even in the case of a vertically projected object or for a freely falling object, from certain height, you will get h is equal to half gt square. So you will get same time t is equal to under root 2h by g. What does it indicate? In the absence of air, suppose you are having two balls in your hands. One ball is thrown horizontally or one ball is kicked horizontally. Simultaneously, with your hand, you are dropping another identical ball. Downwards. So both the balls will reach the ground at the same time, because for the first ball, the equation for time period is t is equal to under root 2h by g. Even for the second ball also, the same equation holds good. So if I increase the speed, what happens? Time will be same, but the range will be different. So if I increase the horizontal speed, so instead of falling nearer to the tower, it falls away from the tower. When this ball, the second ball is at this position, in these cases, at that instant of time, the position of ball will be like this. So when it reaches the ground, so in these cases also, the ball reaches the ground. So this is important. This is one. Now what is the horizontal, range? What is the maximum horizontal displacement? In the previous case we used r. So r is equal to, I have to consider along x-axis. So when I consider along x-axis, the displacement is velocity times t. So if I take the time of flight is this one, so this is u into t. The expression for range in this case is u into under root 2h by g. So this is the equation for range in the case of horizontally projected object. So this is about projectile motion. The other types of projectile motions are not important with respect to public exam, but they are important with respect to competitive exams like JEE mains or MCET. Thank you.